welcome you to the No Cap Sports Show podcast, where sports and combos collide. Your host, Fredo, Mo Money, Jay Will, Mills Lane, and Kobe, the co-returner. Authentic, unapologetic, no edits, no cap. Let the convo begin.
Welcome to the No Cap Sports Show podcast. I am your host, Fredo.
I'm your host, Mo Money.
And I'm your host, Mills Lane.
And I'm your host, the Cobra.
Go ahead, bring us on in, Kobe.
Oh, you already know. Look, I'm excited for tonight's show. We have a special guest, a DMV legend, former parade All-American High School, West Virginia Hall of Famer, West Virginia University Hall of Famer, that is, former Georgetown University basketball coach, and also elite high school basketball coach, our man, our friend, Daryl Prue. Welcome to the show, bro.
Can y'all hear me? I had to change this. I had to change up.
We can hear you.
It's like magic. It's like
yes,
magic.
yes. Thank you, Prue.
Yeah, I had to go to my phone.
Yeah, okay. No, that's all good, man. That's your go-to at the end of the day, champ. Now we appreciate you, man.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Kobe?
What's going on, Prue?
Been a long time, my man.
Absolutely. Hey, look, we definitely, on behalf of the No Cap Sports Show, appreciate you taking the time to join in our show and talk your shit. You know what I'm saying? This is no cap. We don't cap nothing. All right.
Hey, Mr. Prue, Pastor Don Shepard in the house. He said Dunbar, 1985, Roll Tide Roll.
Yeah, that Dunbar thing is like they very supportive of everything I've done over the years. So they like family. You know how it is.
That's what's up. So look, Prue, we're gonna jump right into it. I know the people are ready to hear from you. And I always like to start off with this question because we know what great basketball player you became and what great coach you became. But where did it start for you? You know, what age did you start or that you knew that you wanted to be a ball player, and who was that influence for you?
Man, I wanted to be a football player. I was a hell of a quarterback. Like when I was younger, you know, but I never really played organ. I was always bigger than everybody, you know, so they was about in pounds. But like, you know, we used to play against streets. I was always a quarterback. I could throw. Like when I was like sixth grade, we had a little team in elementary school. I was throwing at like 60, 70 yards then. And then I grew, you know what I mean? So like in eighth grade, I really, from eighth to ninth grade, I really grew. And I didn't play organized basketball until like eighth grade, and everything just kind of fell into place.
Okay. So who was that person that put a ball into your hand?
My great grandfather. We used to call him Nick Prue. He made sure I had a football. He made sure I had a basketball. He made sure I had a baseball and a glove. Took me. You know, I wanted to go play catch. You know, that's what I think helped me a lot in life in the sports world, especially in basketball, because I had really good hands. So my hand-eye coordination was like, you know, over the charts. But I think it's, you know, all started with him.
Okay. So every athlete has this moment as they progress where they know they can be special at something. When did you know that you could be special with the basketball?
So, you know, it was in middle school. I didn't think I was going to hit the stuff I hit. When I was in, you know, because middle school for me was also ninth grade. And, you know, because by that time I was already 6'4". So teams would come in, try to get me to go. I was supposed to go to Murray. I went there all summer. I flunked the summer school on purpose because I didn't want to go all the way up there and stay back. And they accepted me anyway. So then I told my moms I didn't want to go. I was supposed to go to H.D. Woodson. I went up to H.D. Woodson for a day. My records was at Dunbar because it was open enrollment. And when I got up to Dunbar, Jodine Davidson wouldn't let me. He wouldn't let me out the building until I committed to staying. And so, like after the season, we lost in the championship to DeMatha. This guy named Dr. Carr, he picked me up every Sunday. Me, Mike Graham, was about 8 of us. I was the smallest one. Yeah, I was the smallest one at the time. I was about 6'6", and he picked me up every Sunday. I'm playing against Adrian Dantley, Anthony Jones, Bobby Dandridge. So we going to Guy Arnold, so all the local legends. So we going every summer. So by the end of the summer, they started double teaming me. I was like, oh, maybe I found something right. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, you know what I mean? These old men double teaming me now who I was looking at playing a coalition. I was like, oh, maybe I got something going here. Then, you know, everything just kind of fell in place after that.
Okay. Mills, what you got for Prue?
I'm just listening, just trying to get to know him a little bit. I want to hear what you guys know. And Coach Prue, just full transparency, I am an educator at your last high school you coached for, so I just want to listen.
Well, there's a lot to listen to because there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Absolutely, yes, indeed. Yeah. Oh, we gonna get into that.
A lot of stuff that people don't know about.
All right, bet. Yeah, we definitely gonna flow in. We definitely gonna flow in that.
Always two sides to a story.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So we'll pass that thing right over to Mo.
Pass the mic.
I'm gonna be honest. I read your story to get prepared for this interview, but when we were talking backstage, I don't really have nothing for you. I want you to get to the shit. That's what I want.
Okay.
I want you to go
Well,
ahead.
look, we gotta work our way up.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. We gotta ease our way. He just want to go straight into
Zero to
Yeah.
60.
Because
he got a lot to
But
say.
we got to remember, Prue is a legendary ball player out of the DC area. So we definitely got to get that background and his story of how he progressed and how he became who he became.
I did have one. You know, I asked off the wall questions. Being that you're a West Virginia alum, right? And I saw Randy Moss's documentary. Is it that bad in West Virginia? I rode through there once. I didn't get a vibe that I was very welcomed in Charleston, in West Virginia. Can you talk about your experience? How did you like it? If you had to do it again, would you have chosen a different school?
I mean, I was supposed to go to Georgetown at first. I signed with Georgetown coming out, and it didn't work out. It was my second coach that kind of forced me to go there. You know, he threatened if I didn't go there, he made sure I didn't make All-Met again because I made it my junior year, and he didn't make sure. You know, one of my dreams was to play in the Capital Classic, and he told me I wouldn't play in the Capital Classic if I, signed because I wanted to go to Maryland. I loved Lefty Driesell. He was different. Mm-hmm. And so when I signed with West Virginia, you see all that, but to this day, and people down there still love me. And it's 30-something years ago. I went down there a couple of weeks ago. People talking about, my father thought you, it's a white guy. My father thought you was the best player that ever came down to West Virginia. And they got Jerry West there, they got Jerry West and stuff all, all over the place, to what Randy went through another thing. There's a lot of that. But it's not a lot of it. He's in a small town. His town's about 3 blocks. I had a teammate who lived in like a 1 block. I took T.C. Williams to West Virginia in the middle of nowhere, and they loved it. You know what I mean? I took T.C. Williams down there. It was the group with Tobias and them the year we won it, that won the district, and took them down there. They loved the atmosphere. The little girls was liking them. There was, had to make sure they wasn't bringing nobody back to the hotel. Had to tell them, if you get stuck down here, dog, the bus is rolling. We're gonna leave you. But anywhere where you have mixed races like that, you're gonna get into it's gonna be something. But because who we were and what we play, we played. You know what I mean? They didn't. I didn't see it. I stayed on campus, around the guys. Before I went there, I wasn't never around no white people before. There wasn't no white people at Dunbar, Sousa and Kimball. You know what I mean? So it took me a while to adjust, but I'm still friends with a lot of them, and I think I do the pregame podcast with one of the football players who's white, who I've been friends with, and he thought about me. You know what I mean? He just like y'all thought about having me on there. He thought about me doing something. So, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's situation is different. I can understand where Randy came from, because even with the Hall of Fame thing with me at West Virginia, they took a long time and they kept passing me over. And, I didn't like it because it was guys going in with lesser numbers. They skipped our team. And, I made some bones about it. Somebody got mad. It's like, oh, you didn't want to come here in the first place because I was coaching at Georgetown. So they do have that little bit of, if you leave, you know what I mean? And, if you leave, you're a piece of shit. But I'm like, yo, I played 4 years here. So what are you talking about? Right. I was like, I coached at Georgetown because Beeline wouldn't hire me. Like, y'all don't know that story. My resume was there. He called me, but he didn't hire me. John hired me. So, it's just a lot of little
Shout
things.
Shout out to JT3.
Yeah, JT3. Yeah, it's a lot of little things that, you just got to be careful and watch your line, where you go.
Gerald, can you talk about, first of all, I love Lefty Driesell. My brother used to go to his camps at Maryland like the last 2 years, and then 1 year at James Madison. So I loved him. So I appreciate that. But talk about some of the kids you've coached. Like, who was that kid that maybe gave you a hard time but had the real raw talent? And I actually was Tobias's English teacher.
I love Tobias.
You can't really not love Tobias.
I love Tobias. When I first got the job there, they told me he would never be nothing but a street kid. That's what they told me. And he wasn't really good enough to be on the team, but I liked him, kept him around. So the first year we were struggling a little bit. So in the halftime or the end of the games, he might even get in the game. He's cussing guys out.
He the hype man.
Yeah. So we at the door listening. So I always let the kids fuss and whatever they got to get out, as long as they don't fight. So he was one of those guys. I said, you know what? I got to find time for you. So I found a minute here, a minute there, a minute. So he started earning my trust. So I would play him spot minutes. Ricardo Ross was difficult at first.
That's my guy.
Oh man, he quit. We had a playoff game, and this dude didn't show up for the film session, and came like an hour late while on the floor, talking about he outside playing football. They was playing catch. I'm like, yo, it's dark. So how you be outside? There ain't no lights out there. I'm like, it's dark. So I cut him and BJ. I end up cutting them, and we end up winning. So the next year, I made him wait all the way to tryouts.
That's right.
And he was the MVP of the league. He got robbed. He should have been the MVP of the league. We had TJ Horton, but like we watched film, it's like, oh, he made that play. Oh, he made that play. He would make some plays. You'd be like, wow. Yeah. So he was one, but the one I feel bad about is the one that got killed in DC. Montez quit. He quit for he wasn't, he wasn't playing that much. He quit, took his shoes off, the shoes we gave him, took everything off in the locker room, didn't say nothing. He quit, but he wanted to come back the next year. I just said, nah, we couldn't have that kind of. He was
mine too, actually, that year. He was mine too.
Yeah, we couldn't have that because we had a really good team. I couldn't have no negative stuff on the team. And then when all that stuff happened, I just felt bad because I thought, I should have did more. You know what I mean? But, I had so many other people that, I had 13 other people to take care of it. So that kind of hit me hard right there.
Okay. Hey, Prue, I got to go back to your high school days, man. Hey, look here, bro. Sophomore, 12.6 rebounds per game. Junior year, 19.4 points, 12 rebounds your junior year. Senior year, 24.17 rebounds, man. 2-time first team All-Met, man. Let me ask you this. Let me tell you this. First and foremost, you're my second favorite player that ever left Dunbar. I'm sorry you're not number one. Anthony Jones is my favorite player that ever left Dunbar. I just want to put that out there in the atmosphere right now. Shout out to Anthony Jones wherever you at, bro. I've always loved that guy.
Anthony Jones is my favorite too.
Good.
He's my favorite.
That's what's up.
Nobody talks about him, but man, he was
bro.
Yeah, he was at Doc's gym, man. And when he left Georgetown to go in, I was like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? He was one of the reasons why I wanted to go to Dunbar. I wanted to be Anthony Jones. You know what I mean? But I couldn't jump like him, and I wasn't light skinned, so that wasn't going to work.
Hey, D, how come he don't? You right, but how come he don't get the love that everybody else get? I mean, you talking about he's like number one player in the country. Everything.
It was Patrick Ewing, Anthony Jones, Michael Jordan.
Y'all marinate on that.
Wow.
Think about that. That's 1981, right? Or
Yep,
80.
yeah.
81.
Like, at number 5 was like, or 6 was like Adrian Branch. That year was like loaded. Number 10 was like Billy Martin. You know, a lot of DC stuff. Like
Kinley Tech.
Yeah, you know what happened? I think he never came back. I think when he was from Trinidad. That's mom passed away. He never come back. He real quiet. And like people don't know, he played like 5 years in the NBA. He went out,
he played the Bullets.
Yeah, but nobody, he was always a real quiet dude. I used to watch him going into my senior year. It was him and Adrian Branch up at Coolidge. So IBM had this little special project. They had all the players from the DC Inter High and girls teams working up there, like going to school and working. And Coolidge didn't have a good gym, so I used to sneak off to the gym and him and Anthony playing one-on-one full court. I was like, man, I want to get in that. You know what I mean? I was like, I want to get in that. I couldn't hang with them dudes, man. Them dudes was flying up and down court jumping. I was like, man, 6'9" guard, 6'6" guard. I was like, man, I want to be a guard. I was like, I want to be a guard. But it was like, back then, the older guys didn't really, like me and Adrian are really cool to this day. Adrian Branch, I can call him. His father was, they were nice to me coming up, but they never took us under there like the Adrian Dantleys and stuff like that. The closest one was Bobby Dandridge for me. He used to give me shoes and stuff when I was at Dunbar, so I got my Nikes then. But they didn't take us and work us out like all these guys do now. It's a big difference how things are.
Your recruitment. I know you was recruited by Georgetown. Who else recruited you outside of Georgetown and West Virginia?
Man, I told you, like my coach, man, I had 2 coaches. Joe Dean Davis was the one who was legendary. Then I had Roy Westmore. He was a piece of shit. He messed over Tyrone Jones, stretching him the year before. I didn't know about it at the time. Stretch was like, he played at Oklahoma. Like that's how good he was. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I know.
The center, only reason like I went to West Virginia, the assistant coach was coming to the games, all our games my junior year. He was recruiting our center named Sean Alvarado, shot blocker, boom, boom. Like he was at every game. Like every time I come downstairs, he was there. So I gave Westmore a list of 15 schools. Georgetown wasn't on it. My top 3 was Maryland, Syracuse, DePaul. Me and Rod Strickland was cool, and I liked Louisville.
Look at Mills.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah. I said, no, Mills is a huge Syracuse fan.
Yeah. But, because to me, they were forward schools. So I see forwards develop there, back then. So he only let 3 schools in. And none of those schools, he let Georgetown in, West Virginia, and Ohio State. And Jim Clemens came in. Jim Clemens, that was the assistant coach with the Bulls all those years. And Gary Williams was the head coach out there at the time. And then I was forced to sign with Georgetown because he wouldn't let me sign with Maryland. So, yeah, and, he wouldn't let everybody come in. After it was all over with, all these guys like, we couldn't get in and talk to you because we knew you was going to Georgetown. I never said I was going to Georgetown. You know what I mean? Because the Georgetown thing resonated with me was how they handled Anthony Jones.
Yeah.
Jodine Davidson was him and John Thompson didn't like each other at all. It was crazy.
I'm glad he transferred to UNLV. Yeah, talk let him boogie. Hey, Kobe, can you sit back and just imagine Prue playing with Louisville? You know what I'm saying? That those Denny Crum teams with Milt Wagner, Flash Gordon.
Yeah,
come on, man. Oh, the Twins.
Kenny Payne was on there. Purvis Ellison.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would love that, man. Yeah, I'm gonna fall back, Kobe. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So playing in the Inter High League, who was some of your toughest competition?
Man, Inter High was real tough. You know what I mean? Like, so my sophomore year, I played. I ended up starting some, You know what I mean? He put me in. I guess he put me in because he knew in the future I would need it. So like Anacostia was good. H.D. Woodson was good. Coolidge was good. Spingarn was good. So like it really didn't have no off games. Like one time we were number one in the country, number one in the city. Anacostia was number 2. You know what I mean? We go to Anacostia, point guard don't show up. Stretch get thrown out in the first quarter. You know, and I had like 35 points. Then we play them again up Dunbar, and I get the rebound. We down 1. I throw it to the point guard. He get trapped. He throws it full court. The dude jumps in front of me and steals it. Lennon Pickett jumps in front of me and steals it. I poke it out his hand, grabbed it, and laid it up, and the time went up. So, and everybody rushed the floor. So Anacostia was tough. H.D. was tough. But like, did my senior year, and Coolidge was real tough. Coolidge had a guy named Sonny Reds. He was a 6'4" point guard. They had Wally Lancaster. He ended up playing at Virginia Tech. They had Milt Newton, who went to Kansas. They had Tim Anderson, who went to Virginia Tech, and Big Dave Butler, who went to UNLV. And Stretch had a hell of a game that game. And, you know, we beat them that year. Then the next year, it was all Spingarn. Nobody could beat Spingarn. Spingarn they've been together for a couple of years. Sherman Douglas and that crew. You know,
was Bootney on there?
No, Bootney left my 10th grade year. Bootney and Mike Graham. Bootney was about 5'8". He'll tell you he's taller than that, man, but he was a power forward. And he was dunking on people, vertical. Yeah, he was dunking on people. It was crazy.
Bootney Green was one of the best that ever came out of DC. He's one of the best, man.
Yeah, so I never had an opportunity to see Bootney, but I heard a lot about him. So how good was Bootney really, Prue?
Bootney was hell of a good. So when he got to college, he changed. So he started shooting jump shots. And he had a motor, like all day long, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. He didn't care who was in front of him. He didn't care who was at the basket. He just go, 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 go. It was no pretty stuff. He was just relentless. And he could shoot. He got to a point where he shot the ball better and was shooting consistently, and he was making shots. And, you know, the tough shots, because he could jump. He was getting in the lane. He was a problem, especially when he got older and his game has evolved more than he did in high school. He still made All-Met in high school, but you know he would jump. It was him and Mike Graham, and he would jump center. That's how high. Yeah.
So yeah, obviously.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mills.
No, I'm sorry, Kobe. I was obviously, you know, being from here, we all know that DC has always been a powerhouse for basketball. But I'm listening to these names and I'm remembering, and I'm thinking, in the last 10 years, has it slowed down? Like the amount of talent that got to shine like in the 80s and the 90s? Because, you know, I don't know. I feel like we had a plethora, and I think it's still talent around. But what's your take on it? Do you think?
Good question.
I think it's a big drop off. It's a big drop off.
Feels like that.
Because the city schools were just as good or better than some of these private schools. Now it's all the private schools. Yeah. And like even with T.C. Williams, like this is how I heard of T.C. Williams. Tyrone Shaw. Tyrone Shaw came over. Me and him made All-Met together my junior year. But before that, he came over. Him and the crew came over. James Clark and them. They came over to the Urban Coalition in the high school division. The name of the team was All-Man E-Band. They used to call it Tyrone E. Yeah. And he would do all these damn fakes and stuff. And I was like, he ain't catching me. I was like, he ain't catching me with these fakes. I was like, you know what I mean? And I started feeling his face. I was like, he ain't gonna catch me. So, he would get guys, he'd freeze you, he would do all these little tricks. And I was like, they got a good team. You know what I mean? So that's like, with no disrespect to teams in Virginia, but I haven't heard anybody until then. You know what I mean? Because we had so much in DC, then we had to deal with DeMatha and Gonzaga, sometimes St. John's, but like we didn't go over there and play a lot of those teams. And there were some Maryland teams, but Tyrone and Derek Simmons, those guys, they came over, and man, All-Man E-Band, they came in and had this little music playing. I was like, man, who is this dude E? You know what I mean? So then we ended up being teammates at West Virginia for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I'm dating myself a little bit, but I came up, like I said, we all from the DMV, we all from Alexandria. But I remember going to see him play in the Capitol Classic at the Capitol Center.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's underrated. Like he don't get enough. Like when I was coaching at TC, they was trying to get me on the Hall of Fame board, and I brought his name up. You know, like why he not on here? They had somebody name I never heard of before. I was like, I never heard of him before. Why Tyrone not on? He made All Met. You know what I mean? So I was trying to get to those politics, but it never worked out. So, but yeah, he like him and James Clark, because James Clark was a high flyer. He could jump. You know what I mean? He was like one of those guys that could really jump. Very athletic.
James Clark.
Yeah, very athletic. And he had some guards. And I used to come out there. Then me and E became friends. Like, I thought when I was coaching out there, I thought I was going to be fine because I used to come down on a highway, go out there wreck all the time and play with Tyrone and James and all them.
Charles Houston.
Charles Houston. Shout out to Charles Houston.
Yeah, I used to be out there all the time playing. So I played. Yep. Even as I got old, I ended up playing against Bogans. Keith Bogans out there.
Bogan.
Playing with the guys out there.
Bogey.
Yep.
Wow. So look, what AAU team, what AAU organization did you come up with?
We really didn't have it. It was more the boys club. So one year I played going into my junior year. I played with number 2 boys club, but my guard was not number 2. It was I was in Southwest. Okay, so yeah, Jay Shorter. He was like a legend in middle school and the boys club. But Frank Smith was one of my guards. Frank Smith and Sherman Douglas. And all I did was just catching the dunk. I just stand under the rim, they break them down. They throw me the ball, bam. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, we almost got in a fight with Rod Strickland. Then we throwing rocks at him on the highway. I don't know how we was out somewhere. And then we were supposed to go to the national event. I didn't want to go because they talking about busing to Tennessee. It was like 14, 15 hours. I'm like, I ain't getting no damn bus, no 14, 15 hours. So we didn't, nobody ended up going, but that's where I met Frank Smith. He was really good too. He was very underrated as a guard.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the reason he was underrated because he was an elite football player too. He could have went anywhere in the country as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like Notre Dame, Alabama, you name it, he was recruited by. So Frank was my assistant coach at Dayton.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he recruited me at Dayton. And he's like family. He's from Alexandria. Went to school with a lot of my family members. So yeah, shout out to Frank.
Yeah, he's still, I got an interview this year with the NCAA, and he's been helping me out with that stuff when stuff come up. So yeah, we still stay in touch and stuff. So, he gave me some history on the Alexandria. He gives me a lot of history. When he was coming up too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you a story how I heard about you, Prue. So I was a youngin' on the rise. I was just getting my little swag in basketball. So
here we go, y'all.
I was invited to play in this pro-am in Baltimore. I think it was called a Charm City Classic or something like that.
In Randallstown?
I believe. I don't know. It's so long ago, but so the person that I rode with who invited me was Coach Dallas.
Oh yeah, that's my man.
Yeah, so I'm about to get to that. So on the way to the gym, all Dallas was talking about was Daryl Prue this, Daryl Prue that, Daryl Prue this. I'm like, who the hell is this Daryl Prue dude? like he had such. I mean, he loved you. Like he had so much high praise for you, and he was telling me how great you was and how you should have been in the NBA for a long time. he really loved Prue. So we got there, and I played with you guys out there in Baltimore, and I saw you do your thing. I was like, oh yeah, Prue, nice. You know what I mean? So my question is, what did Dallas mean to you? Rest in peace, Mr. Dallas, too. He was a great, great man. So what did Dallas mean to you in your life or in your basketball career?
I mean, I got him later in my life, like when I started playing overseas and stuff, and I was coming back. I used to hear about him. Nice to see him around. He like one of the nicest people you ever meet. Just a person. You know what I mean? Just one of the nicest person. I used to go visit him in the hospital, and we would talk about some things. I was going through some stuff with my daughter's mother. He would talk me through that. And when I was overseas, he was one of the few people that wrote me when I was overseas. You know what I mean? That meant a lot. There was no there was no FaceTime and all that stuff, you know. And them $500 phone calls for 30 minutes was like, they were adding up, you know.
Collect call from.
Yeah. Them calls was they were adding up. So if people call, I had to pay their phone bill. So you know, he would write me, and he just stayed in touch all the way to the end. You know, he was just for some reason he was my big advocate. You know, it was good to have him. And, you know, it's good to have somebody that really has your back. You know, for the right reasons.
Awesome. All right, so you had this amazing playing career, and when you decided to put up the high tops and do something else, what motivated you to want to get on the sideline and be a coach?
I didn't know what I wanted to do, honestly, and it just kind of like when I stopped, I wasn't ready to stop playing. It just kind of happened, you know what I mean? Got tired, you know, and I was like, man, I got to do something else, you know. So I was working as an aftercare program in upper Northwest. John's sister was running the program. Then they built a gym. It's a small private school. We got a lot of money though, and you know, so I was coaching the little kids up there, and I was like, oh, okay. So then when John got the job, I was working out at Georgetown sometime, like when Mike Sweetney was there. And Craig Escher was a coach.
Wow.
So I would go. They would come up to Doc's gym on Sundays, and we would play, and I was killing like Cortland Freeman. So they were asking me to come to their practices because Cortland Freeman kept getting hurt, and they wanted me to go against Mike Sweetney. So I was like the scout team. So you know how Georgetown is. They got tape on the doors. You can't see what's going on there anyway. So it was illegal, but they would let me come up there practice, and all of a sudden I would come to games. I'm sitting on the floor. I was getting gear for free gear. You know, but I was living up there, so it was right around the corner. So it was like, I was just work, go there, and go back home. So it was like going on this little circle. And then when they left, Ronnie Thompson told me to holler at his brother. You know, my grandfather was dying at the time, and when he passed away, that's when Roy Hibbert and Jeff Green came in. So they had me working out Roy Hibbert and Jeff Green. So and what was the other kid from TC Williams? He was going there too.
Damon Jackson.
No. No, the big fella that transferred.
Townsend.
Darian
Townsend. I thought he went to Arkansas.
Yeah, they went to Arkansas. Yeah.
So he was up there too. But then when Ronnie went to Arkansas, he went to Arkansas with Ronnie Thompson. Yeah. So he's supposed to be there with Roy Hibbert and them. So because he was there that summer when that happened, then there was a break. Then like right before the season started, I was like, John, what's going on? He's like, when you want to get started? So when I got started, I just I looked at so I was working out with Jeff Green. I worked out Jeff Green every practice, before practice, during practice. Everybody else was doing something else. Roy was doing something else. Then I started watching film. So what I did was I gave a scouting report to John before every game about the tendencies of the teams, what they like to do. Then I noticed that he had my notes, and when he write the stuff for the team, he would write it on the board. So at the time, I wasn't on the bench. I was in the stands on a computer, and I edit the game. I had the software where I could edit the game, who's in the game, plays and stuff like that. Then I had to go down at halftime and tell them what I saw. Mm-hmm. So that happened for like 2 years. I was still working at the school, but at the other school, I wasn't there full time. So the year we went to the Final Four, it was like, I told Ronnie, I was like, Ronnie, I see things, but I can't see when teams make the adjustments after halftime. So we played Villanova. I'll never forget this. We played Villanova at the Verizon Center, and we lose. So we in the coach's locker room, the players in the locker room. Big John comes in there, cuss the coaches out. Y'all, MFs, y'all just want to be on TV. Y'all throwing your hands up. Y'all MFs ain't doing nothing. Y'all just here for the show. You got to coach these kids. Boom, boom, boom. I was like, well, he ain't talking to me because I wasn't on the bench. So I was in the stands. I'm sitting there, he ain't talking to me. So about 2 days later, John comes up to me talking about, I'm thinking about putting you on the bench. I'm like, all right, cool. So we go play Pittsburgh and I had to go. I flew in later because I had to work, so I flew in later, and that's before we started doing the charter flight. So I flew in later, so we do the shoot around, whatever. Boom, boom, come back. So he's like, right before the game, he's like, I'm gonna put you on the bench. I was like, yeah, like, all right. We lost the game. I'm like, damn it, I'm not gonna be on the bench no more because he's superstitious. So we lost, and we lost. We talked about it, boom, boom, boom. Then we went on like a 12-game streak, and we ended up getting to the Final Four. And it was like he was coming down, like everybody see him coming down and talk to me. So now everybody talking to me now because he's coming down talking to me, and we do things, and like a lot of things that I saw and told him, it kind of worked. You know what I mean? But just it was just basketball. You know what I mean? It's just the things I picked up, and I think Dallas probably told you, nobody gives me credit for this, but how smart a basketball player I was. You know what I mean? And that kind of carried over to coaching for me.
Awesome. So who were the standout players at Georgetown during your stint?
I have 2 lottery picks. I have Jeff Green and Greg Monroe, and even with that story with Roy Hibbert. So Roy Hibbert, the second year after the freshman year, I told John I wanted to work with him. He was like, "Wow." I said, "I think we underestimate him." He said, "What you mean?" I said, "He can catch." I said, "I can teach everything else." You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to teach a grown man to catch. You know what I mean? So I said he got good hands, and we end up working, and Roy worked so much, man. He got me sick. You know what I mean? Because he went 7 days a week. I was taking him up to Doc's gym. Him and Jeff will go at it. Then he got too much for Jeff. We had to get another big guy coming in, and it's easy. Like Jeff had the athletic ability. Roy didn't have anything, and to mold a guy like that, all these trainers got these guys that's already good. You just tweak them a little bit. For a guy like that, nobody thought about. Even Big John was talking about getting rid of him. You know what I mean? To turn him around, I think that was like one of my biggest achievements as far as coaching and development.
Okay, so you have V. Sanford too, right? Because I know he left Georgetown and went to my alma mater, Dayton.
Yeah,
he was a really good player for Dayton. So why didn't it work out for him at Georgetown?
That Princeton, you got to be able to think. You know what I mean? Like not think, but you got to make plays for other people. He just couldn't get it. He wasn't that skilled of a passer and a dribbler. He could put it up a little bit, and it was down a little level. A lesser level. No offense to Dayton, but we was in the Big East playing against Kemba Walker and them guys. So it was a little different. And he just couldn't. Just got his shot off too slow. He wouldn't get in the gym. I had guys in the gym all the time. That's all I did. I had guys in the gym all the time after practice, and he wouldn't come down. Like I wasn't going to force guys to work. You know what I mean? And he was one of those guys. Him, he came in with somebody else, Jarrell Benjamin.
Yes.
And, there was another kid that was from Georgia, and they didn't really put the work in. You know what I mean? It was just they wouldn't change either. So sometimes you got to change at different levels. You know about that. You can't do the same things you did, in high school or what you did in middle school. So each level you got to change, the way you play.
Okay.
So, Coach, tell us now about your tenure at TC Williams High School. Obviously, everybody that's watching, they know that you left on some bad terms. You were talked about. You were negative connotation to what happened. There was video, but there's always 2 sides to a story. So, for the most part, was it a positive experience that kind of devolved into something else? What happened?
I was told not to take the job. I was told by other coaches in the area that TC Williams was the worst job in Northern Virginia.
Wow.
And I took it knowing that it was going to be like that. And, I knew what happened to Brian Hill. I knew what happened to Julian. I knew what happened to all those guys. So when I first came in, I knew I wasn't going to talk to nobody. You know what I mean? I was just talking to one of the parents. He's like, man, you wouldn't talk to us? We just try to be friends. I was like, nah. I was like, I need to get to know everybody. My first week, I got the job on the 25th of September. The first week, I was in a meeting about playing time in Fall League. I'm like, come on, man, we're not doing this. You know, there's a local comedian. You know, his son played on the team. And I'm like, I don't even know the kids' names yet. So why are we having a meeting about this? I don't even know who the fall coach is. You know, so it just started from there. The first year probably was the worst. You know what I mean? They only won 4 games a year before I got there. And we started winning, and more we won, and it was a problem after problem after problem. There was one parent who the kid broke his leg. We was about to move him up to he was on JV. Mother got mad because he was on JV as a 10th grader. But we was about to move him up. And, you know, it's like every week it was something. I'm trying to get the weeks together, but like it was like every week it was something. There was another parent who lived across the street from the school who worked for ACPS. And they had me in a meeting about their son. I cut one of the sons and kept the younger one. Like, you know, and they were complaining about this, complaining about that. You know, a letter went out on me. An anonymous letter went out on me about they compared me to spousal abuse.
What?
Yeah, they compared me to spousal abuse.
So what is that about? What is that about? Because I know how you were just talking about John Thompson and his language. Mm-hmm. Could it have been language, or do you think this was all one-sided? Is it?
Because the seniors I had on that team, they spoke to the parents about it, and they wish they had me for the whole 4 years. So yeah, it could be. We running. Yeah, we running. Yeah, we running. Nope, I don't want to hear it. We running. So they try to say it was language one time. So this is what they did. So Mr. Parker came to me one day and said, "What a parent, somebody complained about your language." I said, "All right, cool." I said, "If I can't cuss."
Hold on, Pro. Who is? And just let me intervene right quick. Let the audience know who is Mr. Parker.
He's an AD. He was an AD.
Okay. All right.
So I said, if I can't cuss, nobody can cuss. So kid make a layup, miss a layup, shit, running, miss a shot, fuck. So he ran for every time they curse. So, you know, I've watched other people curse. I watched the football coach curse. Nobody said nothing to him about anything. I watched the JV coach curse. Nobody said anything. So I don't cuss kids out. I don't get nobody's face and cuss them out. You know, I might like get your ass on the line or get the F out the gym. Cause I'll put them at the gym if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Right. And I'll put the whole group out. I didn't never got nobody. I'm too big to get anybody's face. You know, one. So I never did that. You know, I might have cursed here and there because it was like it was uncalled for. It was like so this person or people, you know, they try to put they just I know this is a trend with coaching in high school. So they can't get you for anything else. They'll try to attack your character. You know, so they'll try to attack your character, just like teachers. So, you know, if a parent don't like you, what they do? They'll try to say, "Oh, you didn't do this, or you did this, or you did that, or you did this." All right. So, you know what I mean? But what are the players saying? You know, the players got tired of hearing all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like they, you know, and they banded together and, you know, still talk to these guys today. So it's like everybody who played for me as a senior ended up going to college. To the Ricardos, they was going to throw Ricardo off the team his senior year. Tobias, he's running for class president as like a sophomore in college. Like, come on now.
Yeah,
he wasn't even thinking about that.
Killing it at Virginia State. He really is.
Yeah, you know, that's what it's about. You know what I mean? And it's like I had an Hispanic kid. I kept him because I knew he was dibbling dabbling with that MS-13 when all that stuff went down, and I left. I don't think he's playing no more. So he sends me a text last year. You know, Coach, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to say bye. You know, when all this stuff happened, he said, "But I wanted to thank you." He said, "I wanted to thank you because some of the stuff you told us I'm using in my everyday life, and it's helped me adjust, you know, in life." And that's what it's about because we always had talks after practice. You know what I mean? So like a lot of parents, they get this confused with basketball talk and real life talk. Yes. So if I say you're not that good or you're not good enough to do this right now, don't mean I don't like you. It doesn't mean you won't be, but they take it as you don't like my son. No, it's not. I don't like your son. This is what he need to work on, you know, to get better. So the kid, I said, I try to push him. I try to do this and I try to do that, but he didn't respond. You know, the mother heard me, but the father couldn't get it. You know what I mean? So it was a different situation. It's like they wanted me to make apples out of oranges, and half the time, if a guy don't have it in him, I can't bring it out of him.
Real talk.
Real talk, man.
But Alexandria is a very special city in that parents are uber involved. Not just sports related, but it's always been, I mean, especially for sports. And, you know, it's unfortunate because you do hear as a spectator, you know, people coaching from the stands and things like that. And I know that's difficult because a lot of coaches that came through TC had to deal with that. Some parents would come up and, you know, try to approach after the game. And I'm like, you know, not thinking how it looks and not knowing that maybe their kid does like the coach and wants to absorb what the coach gives. So I do, you know, and I'm not playing either side. I'm just saying I've seen it happen, and I know it's especially difficult in Alexandria.
Well, you know, it's like I used to tell them all the time. I said, I got a lot of years in this. I got 40 years in this, you know, from a player and a coach's perspective. And like, I've learned a lot. I didn't just say, okay, I play basketball now, I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I was fortunate enough to learn from a lot of different people. And that's what people don't understand. You know, I tell them all the time, you're going to learn something from all the coaches. It may be one thing, but you're going to learn something. But if a person's not here, not at practice every day, they don't know what we're doing. You know, do they know how to put a team together? They know how to put plays together. They know how to do this. They know how to do that. You can't answer that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I had an issue with Team Takeover, my AAU team. So they had me coaching the team. I didn't have the first team, I had the second team. We ended up winning that tournament. We beat 2 EYBL teams. EYBL team is like one of the top Nike teams. So we ended up winning the tournament. So a guy came up to me, was like, yeah, you know, we underestimated you as a coach. I was like, what you mean? He's like, yeah, we underestimated you. I said, how you underestimate me? I'm the only one that coached in the Final Four before. I studied. You know, I was watching tape. You know, we say 10,000 hours of tape. I watched one team. I watch them play 8 times and might watch it again before we play them. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what I do. And so I have experiences. I've seen things. And like the coach, I think what happened with the players, when I started predicting things before they happened, they were like, oh man. You know, so they started buying in. I had one parent. I love him to death for this. Cleo, I don't know Cleo's last name. His son was Tim Sellers. And he wasn't playing much. So he wanted to have a meeting. I don't mind meetings. But I had a rule where don't catch me after a game. Send me an email. Don't call my phone. Send me an email and we can set up a meeting. And we set up a meeting. He said, why my son not playing? So Tobias one day punked him. So Tobias punked him. He didn't fight back. I moved somebody up. He didn't fight back. I was telling Father this. I said, I wanted more out of him. He said, hold up, Mr. Prue. He said, is this the body language you've been getting? I said, yes. He said, I'm sorry for wasting your time. And guess what? The kid came back and changed. Because he was listening to all the other stuff. You know what I mean? What people were saying outside that didn't know what was going on. You know, he listened to all the other stuff. He got it together, ended up playing. I got invited to the graduation house party and all that stuff just because of that conversation. You know what I mean? It was just, it was just what it was. You know, it's just like, you know, people had so many different things before I even got to me. You know what I mean? Or what they thought I was going to do, or what was, you know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, I'm intense as a coach. I'm thinking, you know, like I'm as a coach, we lose a game, or we're in a game, or we lose a game. I'm thinking, I don't blame the players. I'm looking at myself to try to say what I could have done better to make it easier for them. You know what I mean? So like they, you know, like I had a parent didn't like my plays. I'm like, it's not for you to like or understand. Your son understands it. You know, it's the reason why we ran it. We're not good enough. We wasn't good enough to beat everybody just on talent. So we had to be smarter and we had to have strategy and stuff like that. So that's basketball. But because you don't understand it, that's the same thing about the Princeton system at Georgetown. People didn't understand it, so they didn't like it. You know, but NBA teams run it. You know what I mean? So it's so it was. I got to the Final Four with it. Oh, you can't win with it. I said, well, we did get to the Final Four. We did lose to Ohio State, who, you know, and the year before we lost to Florida, who won it. You know what I mean? So it's not like, you know, people got to buy in. Then you get kids that don't buy in. So when I was at Georgetown, when that second group with Chris Wright, Austin Freeman, Julian Vaughn, I had a conversation with Julian Vaughn. So he was like, you know, why we had more talent than that group. I said, you know what happened? I said the first group with Roy Hibbert, Jeff Green, DeJuan Summers, Lil Pat Ewing. I said they bought in. I said y'all didn't buy in. I said you got this guy. We all at the hotel eating together. Everybody got Georgetown stuff on. He got whatever he wants to put on. You know what I mean? You know, he shows up. He don't want to eat with y'all. Y'all don't want to do this. Y'all fighting that. I was like, y'all didn't buy in. I said, if y'all had bought in, you know, it would have been good. You know, that group, my first year, when we lost to Lake Braddock, I told them, I said, they're going to whoop y'all asses at the beginning of the game. I told them, I said, they play harder than you. So they jump out 27-2 or 4. I called a timeout. I started laughing. It was like, you know, they were looking at me. I was crazy because they thought I was going to, you know, fuss at. I said, I told y'all. I said, y'all ready to play now? They was like, yeah. So I drew up something, and we made it a good game because they you know, they didn't know, you know, because they wasn't ready for that kind of speed. And I go back and look at the game. I was like, wow. I wish I could get on a play like that all year, but they fought. I had guys crying coming off the bench. Sean Walsh, he cried, but they gave it heart. And I told them, I said, some of y'all, this is y'all last time playing competitive sports at a school, but it's okay. It's okay to be. Okay, I played in high school, but I didn't play. But it's okay if you go to college and just be a student. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, then you have, like you said, you have some parents that want this and want that and want this. They see somebody else's kid and they want that. Everybody doesn't do the same thing. But I didn't know I was going to be 6'7", 6'8". My mom is 5'7". My father is 5'7". You know what I mean? So it just happens.
But Daryl, that's the problem that I have. That's the problem that I have with coaching. Is some of these parents that live vicariously through their kids, you know, and to what Mills was saying earlier in terms of, the support from the parents and stuff like that, whether it's academically or athletically. I have a problem with that. I mean, I don't have a problem with the support. I have a problem with, I think that's overstepping your boundaries and stuff like that. Asking the coach what plays you're running and why, you know what I'm saying, and why your son and why my son is not playing and stuff like that. Well, maybe your son's not good enough. Maybe he's not working hard enough. That's why I couldn't coach. I
had a parent cuss me out. I still got the text. Cuss me out. Their kid was in the 8th grade playing on freshmen because they didn't get freshman of the year.
See,
I didn't pick it. I let the freshman team coach pick it. I said I was late to the freshman games because I coming from DC. I worked in DC. I was like, so what's the problem, man? F you and your coaches. What? Really?
See, right.
Like, really? And this kid is one of the best players on the team right now. You know,
see, Daryl, look here. I somewhat understand, man. And I know it's probably politics in a lot of different schools or what have you, but I get it when it comes to Alexandria City Public Schools. Trust me, I've experienced it. I know exactly what it is. I you know what I'm saying, and I actually thought it changed. I didn't know it was just bad. You know what I'm saying, especially when you was coaching and stuff like that.
Man, I got anonymous calls, anonymous texts. You know, calling me all kind of names. I'm talking about kids. You know, I know who it's from. I mean, they can't fool me. I got anonymous texts. I got, you know what I mean? People saying this, people saying that. One time, I had a parent, you know, we playing the game, rooting against me, saying, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And my coworkers are there. And my coworkers come to me and was like, yeah, we was cheering on you. I was like, yeah, because some parent was behind it doing this. And I saw him walking on the door. I said, was it him right there? It was like, yeah. I was like, you know, so they didn't particularly, I had one parent, the same parent that worked for ACPS, who was a booster for the team, was in the concession stands killing me, talking shit about me all the time. Other parents was telling me, but he want to shake my hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I told him, I said, don't, like, he's the same one that had me in the meeting. His son, they live across the street. His son was late for a Saturday practice at 10 o'clock. The son told me, "Oh, I really don't want to tell you why I was late because I was cleaning the fish tank." So you gonna disrespect my practice like that? You know what I mean? So, and he ended up quitting and had a meeting. But that's the kind of guy.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you the story on this guy. So and it involves Tobias. So they had the little gym somewhere we played West Potomac and lost. I think it was a district game. We lost. And I didn't play the kid. And I didn't play him in the first half. I moved somebody up. Braden, what's Braden's last name? His father went there. Big white kid. Oh, man. He don't get me for forgetting his name. But I played him instead of him. I moved him up from JV because West Potomac had a 7-footer. And he was a football player. I needed somebody to be more physical. So he was more physical. So I played him in the first half. So in the second half, we come back in, and I look, and I see the kid on the bench. Not saying nothing. So I go, look, continue coaching the team, but we lose. So after the game, they are going at this kid. Tobias is going at him. So I go in, Coach, he want to quit. Let him quit. Boom, they going at it. So the next day, they go to this rec and play. Tobias texts me and says, such and such said, yeah, Coach, you about to get fired. That's what they saying, yada, yada, yada. I said, all right, thank you for that. And that's what the kid said. They lived across the street. I said, okay, cool. So the kid hit me up. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna play harder. So I write back to him. I said, you probably need to watch what you say because things do get back to me. So he goes up to the rec to confront Tobias and swings on Tobias. He swings on Tobias. The rec was about to jump on him. Then the kid's father come up. Told Tobias to get his father. I'll fight your father. I'm like, yo. So, I said, we got to have a meeting. So we have a meeting. Said, well, we can have a meeting, but we don't want to talk about this incident. I'm like, are you serious? So we get to the meeting. Mom says off the bat, oh, we never had a coach like you before. I said, you sure haven't. So now the fathers talk about the old coaches and stuff like that. He almost fought one of the old coaches. He came out the stands and wanted to fight. So I had to put one of my assistant coaches out of the meeting because they was going back and forth. And I told him, I said, look, I moved him up. Hopefully he work hard to get better. But then, y'all don't say nothing about him missing this practice. Y'all don't say this about him doing this. I was like, it's on him if he wants to get better. And after the meeting was over, boom, boom, boom. The assistant principal was there. The assistant principal, when he found out that father confronted Tobias, he had a conversation with him. He said, you can lose your job for this. You confront the kid, tell him, you got to fight his father. So at the end of the day, the mom circled back around and apologized to us. I'm like, what? So she apologized to us for his behavior. So he tries to come up to me and is like, hey, coach, boom, boom. I said, don't shake my hand. I said, you don't like me. I said, you talk shit about me behind my back. Don't come to me. I'm cool with that. If you don't like me, I'm okay with that. But don't act like you cool and this and that. Then you behind my back, crucifying me. So I had 5 or 6 interviews in ACPS. I didn't get none of them. None of them. And I think he was one of the ones because he works high. He works high up somewhere in ACPS.
School
and I think he probably said some shit about me. So.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, look, hey, Prue, I feel your pain because I know how challenging coaching can be. I've coached a total of 7 years of high school, and I've coached the last 4 years of high school basketball. So I know how parents can be. Everybody think their child is Michael Jordan or the greatest thing since sliced bread. Right. When that's not reality. And like I think something you said earlier, they're not at practice. Every player that ever has played for me know what they need to do to get on the floor. Okay. And if they don't do it during the week leading up to the game, then you're not going to get the playing time or you're not going to get in the game. But the parents in the stands, he's not playing my son or my son should be doing this or, this strategy should be different. So it's too many coaches in the stands, but you got
no win situation,
right? But you got to understand, if your kid is fortunate enough to go to college, you don't have a voice in what that college coach is doing.
Thank you.
They don't give a shit of what you think about their plays, about if your kid not getting in the game. They giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to school, and if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, guess what? Get the hell out. So what? Take your kid somewhere else.
I always said this. I said it's always the ones that's not good enough. And like I had a kid. It was a 9th grader who I thought was going to be good by the time he was in 11th and 12th grade. Had him on a varsity, so I wanted to see how it'd be. Play against the older guys. We on 11, 12 game streak. He got some minutes, but you got to play for your minutes. And my motto always was, what do you do to help me win? You know what I mean? That's, if you help me win, I'll find some time for you. So, his mother was complaining about that. Boom, boom, boom. And I was like, you're talking all this shit, but then when that kid hit that last second shot against West Virginia, he was one of the first ones that jumped off the bench. You know what I mean? Like that's, it's like I had in the gym one day, I had Roy Hibbert, Kevin Durant, Mike Beasley, and everything I asked them to do, these guys making 50+ million. Everything I asked them to do, they do it. Don't say nothing, don't talk back. It ain't this, it ain't that, it ain't this, it ain't that. You just do it. When I get to this level, you know what I mean? It's like, are you serious? Like you can't even, it was funny. It was funny. It was funny. So this guy has a podcast, Butch McAdams. He's coached MMA for years. And we talk about players and this and that. He said, Daryl, nobody who graduated high school this year was as good as you when you came up. And, that's like you talk about the talent has dropped. It's dropped a lot. You know what I mean? Because when I came out, I didn't think I deserved, even though I had numbers coming out of my senior year, I don't think I deserved first team All-Met because I didn't win like I did before. The year before we were number one in the country. We played in the championship game. We didn't get to the championship game. We lost in the playoffs. So I didn't. If I didn't make All-Met my second year, I would have been fine with that. But I guess I had good numbers and I dominated. But these kids think in a small pocket of Alexandria, because you're good in Alexandria, don't mean you're good everywhere else. I don't care what a kid did in the 6th grade. I need him. What can he do for me in the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade? You know what I mean? So they get confused and they see some success somewhere else. Just like with this incident last year. This kid was in a walking boot for a month. He got cleared on a Wednesday. We played Dunbar that Friday. He suited up. I didn't tell him to suit up. He suited up. He been sitting down watching him with a walking boot and practice every day. So we played a game, so I asked my assistant coaches, should I put him in? They said no. He's not ready. So it wasn't just my decision. I asked the coach who's coaching that Sally, should I put him in? He said no. So Josh Clark, I wanted him to play on the team because we needed some athleticism. Right. And his mother came to me after the game and said Josh wanted to play because his father was against it because he just wanted to concentrate on football. So I said, all right, tell him to come to practice tomorrow. Take a look at it. So I'm running him to death, and I'm running the kid that was hurt. So I'm running him. The kid that was hurt can't keep up. He couldn't do 2. We did 5s. So 5s are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s. And I could do the 5 faster than he could. And he was just struggling. Clark was beating everybody. He was in great shape. So, I'm trying to work him up back into the system. Boom, boom, boom. So come to that game against Wakefield. So we playing against Wakefield. We're struggling. So I put Clark in because he has an athleticism. He got like 9 steals that game. I put the other kid in the press. He gets the ball. First thing he do is shoot a 3. I didn't say nothing. You know what I mean? It's okay. So second thing he does is in the press, he catches in the middle. He's supposed to reverse it. He catches in the middle, takes 3 dribbles, and throws it to the other team's coach. Literally throws it to the other team's coach. So then he missed the defense assignment in the press and he didn't come out. So I took him out. I said, the game's too fast for him right now. So in the second half, he's in the game. So he's in the game. I'm hearing the guy chirping. I go to my assistant coach. My assistant coach is talking to him. I tell him, leave it alone. I got it. So he's still chirping. So the kids in the game, we throw it to him in the post. Throw it to him in the post. He throws it back out. I said, throw it to him. I yelled out, throw it to him again. And when he threw it to him again, I said, score. He went in and scored. So now the dude talking, the other coach called a timeout. So in the timeout, he said something. So I looked up to him and I said, look, my man. I said, if you want to coach, come help us coach, but be here every day so you know what's going on. He said, shut the fuck up, you bitch motherfucker.
So
I'm like, yo, who you talking to like that? So he's right in front of me, literally right in front of me. I walk down. If you notice, I walked down to the steps because the steps right beside me. I walked at the other end. I didn't see no administration. I turned and I see him. So I said, yo, who you talking to like that? He said, I wasn't talking to you. I take a step down. I get hit from behind. Then people started grabbing me. I don't know who was grabbing me, so I just kept my head down because I didn't know who was there. So I kept my head down, and that's when I rolled onto the floor. Because I know when he hit me the first time, you can see me go out the camera. And I go out the camera, he's yelling. I'm looking at him like, so I kind of pushed, and my coaches got him. They throw him to the ground. Like, he yelling. I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, what the hell is, because I didn't know what was going on. Because I didn't know they were together. So I get in the ground, the police come over there. They tell me to stand in the corner. Somebody else from his family told me that, oh yeah, when I catch your ass walking, cause I walk over by what's the Potomac Yard by the basketball court. I walk over there for like an hour. Or I catch your ass out there, it's on, this and that. And I told him, I said, don't think you catch me out there, it's gonna be that sweet. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's not gonna be that sweet. So then the dude who was talking this shit came up and apologized. You know, then they take the dude out. He's about to fight another one of my coaches. So I pull that coach back. The guy goes out, throws the chair. They don't do nothing to him. I go back to the game, coach the game. I'm like, what the fuck happened? So my assistant coach was gone the whole time. So I guess he was talking to the kid. The kid in the locker room crying over this. So I'm like, you know, I told my AD, I'm done. I said, I'm resigning. He said, no. I said, I'm resigning. So he sends me a text later that night. I need your side of the story. I don't know which way this is going to go. I said, what you mean you don't know which way this is going to go? I get hit and I'm on the ground. You know what I mean? I'm like, which way you don't know? So they had a meeting the next day with the parents and the kids. So they let everybody know they suspended me. I said, I get suspended, but the kid comes back the next day. So the assistant coach was like, ain't no conversation about this situation right here? So I said, you know what? I'm done. I said, I'm done. Then that shit went viral. I go to my job the next day, tell them what happened. Principal's like, yada, yada, yada. Then it went viral. Then the news channels catch on to it. You know, local Hope Star. And I come in Friday, my principal was about to fire me about what they saw. I said, I didn't do anything. You know what I mean? So, you should understand. My coach is a football, my brother's a football coach. I said, but you wasn't there. I said, when they started bothering my staff and my kids, and I had an 8th grader beside them that I thought was the future of the school. You know, he just came back. This kid can really play. And I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, you know, like, what's going on? Like, why the guy wouldn't stop. So, you know, all that, boom, 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 you know, and that's like, no, I just couldn't do it anymore. It started, you know, the stress was, I was like, because I was tired of the mother who was texting me, but that texted me from her phone on some stupid shit, you know, about her son, me not liking their sons or talking about these kids and stuff like that. You know, I was like, basketball talk is basketball talk. Doesn't mean, if I say a kid's not that good, that means a kid's not that good in basketball, not life or not as a person. You know, so with this stuff happened, so I lose out on an AD job at Dunbar because of this incident. I lose out on the coaching job because of this incident, and a couple other jobs because of this incident. So I took the guy to court. We went to court yesterday, matter of fact. We went to court yesterday. And I got to a point where, you know, all I want is an apology or something, you know, in that manner. But he has to do it publicly because my shit got publicized. So he in there, he's saying, oh, you're a great dude. You this and you that, you this. You did this for me. You did that for me. this and this and that. I said, then why we here? Why couldn't we have that conversation? Why are we here? Well, I moved past it, this and this and that. No, you moved past it because nobody knows your name outside of Alexander. Nobody knows your name. I said, I had calls from fucking Europe asking me if I'm okay. I go to work the next day. Little kids, my mother want to know if you're okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still getting DC, and I told him, I said, you don't know what you did. I said, you could have started another problem that, was way beyond basketball. Because the first call I got was, when was the next game? We coming out there. Wow. We'll be there. And it was people who, you might not know they're with me or not. You know what I mean? I said, it wouldn't be good for you. I would say it wouldn't be good for your family. Wouldn't it be good for the kids or me? Because it was this, they still talk about it in DC. Because it looked like I got jumped. If you watch this, the video and stuff, like, it looked like I got jumped. Oh, and I asked the dude, I said, over what? I said, what was the issue? When I ain't telling my brother-in-law to do that, this, and that, but he did it. But I said, dude, he said, well, you went in the stands and this, and that. I said, dude, I just had surgery on my shoulder. I was in rehab. You knew I couldn't lift my shoulder up, my arm up. I couldn't lift my arm above my head. He was like, well, I ain't know your intent. I said, well, that's a lawyer talk. Because I knew the lawyer was going to say that, because that's what I was prepped on. I was like, why are we here? We could have had a conversation.
So this was definitely messy, right? Yeah. And this is, yes, what I want to know, and I know we got to close it up, but, do you regret anything? I'm sure you reevaluated even coming, but from what we saw on the news, because this was that big, was you entered the stands. And when I personally saw that, I was like, oh, no, because you never know what could happen after that. Mm-hmm. So, how do you respond to that? Like, were you just at your tipping point where you...
I'm going to say this. I didn't get a chance to cuss. I didn't get a chance to raise my voice. All I asked him, if you watch my hands, I did like this. I was like, who are you talking to like that? He said, I wasn't talking to you.
So do you feel like it was a breakdown? Because you did go in the stands, right? Yeah. That's a fact. Did you feel like it was a breakdown with admin? Because I didn't see that either. Like, and you see all of these other videos of people, and I'm like, well, where, this should have been shut down way before
the conversation.
This happened.
The conversation before the game. Y'all hear this. You cannot heckle the kids or the coaches. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. You cannot do this. I said, I walked down the bench. I didn't see nobody. The stands is as close as this wall behind me. You know what I mean? So there was nobody between him and me. Nobody. There was nobody between him and me. And I wasn't the only one that heard it. There was the assistant volleyball coach. There was a cheerleader. There was a little boy. They all heard this. They never heard me curse. Nobody said I cursed. Nobody said I raised my voice. You know what I mean? Like,
But do you regret going in the stand? That's the thing. I mean, because again, all of this is, a lot of it is hearsay and all of that.
I said it before on the news, when I went on Fox News. But honestly, the only thing, like, I say it now, like, what if I would have fucked him up? What if I would have got to him? I didn't. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't. It was nobody stopping me. My other coaches beat me to him because they jumped over the bench because they was right there. You know what I mean? Like, they want to put the blame on me, the this and this and that. Then why y'all send him over there? Because there's a letter. Because they started on the other side. He wasn't over there the whole game. You know what I mean? So they knew I was going to react. You know what I mean? Like, they knew I was going to say something because nobody else did. Nobody else said anything. Nope. If I was a white coach, would that have happened?
Do you think that I'm sorry, go ahead. Fred. You go, bro.
That was going to be my next point. Over the years, being, from the Alexandria City school system and just watching T.C. Williams' varsity program, specifically basketball, when we had white coaches, we never had these issues. So
say it again, Kobe.
When we had white coaches, we never had this issue because during my time, Coach Warden was the coach, right?
Yep.
After Coach Warden stepped down from being the coach of TC Williams basketball, every coach after that was black coaches, and they all went through the shit.
The same shit.
The same shit, and we lost some great coaches because of that. I mean,
and players too, bro.
And players, coaches and players, but more specifically players. If you go back to former Georgetown great Dwayne Bryant, he left because of all the bullshit. He was a fantastic coach. At the time, I thought he was the best coach TC Williams ever had.
Fact.
And then you got Prue right here. I mean, these are people who played at a high level, coached at a high level, got connections everywhere. These people can get your kid to the next level. They know what it takes, and they know who the people to talk to help them get there.
This is where a lot of things gets misthink. You know, like yeah, I could have did it different. I could have had somebody come over, but I'm in the middle of a game. I'm not thinking rational like I'm thinking now. I'm thinking about the game, thinking about the kids, all this stuff going. So when I first got the job, Nike sent me 30 pair of tennis shoes for these kids, 15 sweatsuits, 30 bags, because of my relationship with my Nike people. John Thompson was bringing Stan Van Gundy over there to run an offense, but I told him don't come. Jeff Green came in there one day and worked out. Tobias met him and took some pictures. The head of Nike Grassroots came through 4-hour games, like 2 or 3 hour games every year. When TC has that? You know what I mean? Like, you know, the people would come. Rasheed Wallace was coming because that's what he's my boy. You know what I mean? Like, I could have had coaches coming in because that's what they do, because they wanted to support. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of things they missed out on. Like the kid got a Division III scholarship this year because I put him on as a 9th grader to that same school because of the connections I have. You know what I mean? Like, it's a shame. You know, like I would bring Luka Garza in there, Hunter Dickinson to work out so the guys can see, you know, what it takes. You know,
connections and stuff.
Yeah. Then Hunter told me if I was there in the 8th grade, he would have went to TC because I've been working with him that long. You know what I mean? It's just like it's you know, the AD was trying to get him to transfer. And he almost did it because the father was scared, you know, with all the stuff that was going on. You know what I mean? So, you know, and it's funny, the white parents loved me there. Not saying all the black parents were bad, but you know what I mean? But it was the bullshit. It was nothing but bullshit. You know, like one parent who take pictures. She wanted me to play everybody. It doesn't work like that.
Man,
you know what I mean? It doesn't work like that.
Bro, we understand.
We
definitely understand, bro. I look at it, man. Nothing has changed. I've seen it since down 9th grade, man.
Yeah,
it's an Alexandria City damn issue, and they really need to fix that shit. I never was a fan of it. It's always political with my school. I love that school to death, but it's always been political.
Yeah, but to what she said, you know, would I have done anything different? So how much disrespect am I supposed to take?
Well, that's what I meant. Was it just kind of your tipping point there?
But I wasn't angry. I just wanted him to stop.
But you do understand how that looks, though, if the coach comes off the bench. I hear you.
Honestly, you know, like, who protects the coaches? Because nobody did.
Well, that was my point. I feel like admin should have intervened way sooner. Sure. If there was jarring back and forth, then somebody should have checked whoever was doing that. Right. You know, because, you know, because like whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
You know, I hear you.
It's sad. You know, like that's what they asked me on. That's what they asked me on the TV, Fox News. But that's the only thing I did different because that's the only thing I'd done. Was take 2 steps in the stands, and the stands was right behind the bench. You know what I mean? Like if I would have talked to him from where I was, would the same thing happen? I don't know. You know what I mean? The dude ran across the gym. You can see him run across the gym. And I told him, I say, if you were there and heard us talking, then you know it's no threat. But you didn't hear that. You just came over. That's because that's what you wanted to do.
Do you feel that the AD had your back?
I don't know. I didn't get a phone call until I sent him my resignation letter.
Mm-hmm. Or the entire administration just period?
I'm gonna say this. I was up there recently because one of the seniors, a white parent, told me their son was at last game, and I came up there to see them, see them play, and the principal didn't come speak to me, and he was 10 feet away from me. And I thought we were cool.
Wow.
I talk to the AD all the time, but I don't know if they think I'm suing or whatever. I'm not doing all that. That's too much hassle.
If you had to do it all over again, if you had to, in terms of taking that coaching job, would you have done it again? Would you do it again?
No, I would have stayed with the takeover program and just coach AAU.
What changes you think needs to be made to their to their administration?
I think they made the changes after the incident, and I think some parents brought up in them small gyms like that. How do you protect the coaches? They brought it up in the parent meeting. And having administration closer to the bench so I could see what's hearing stuff was going on.
So it took you to be the fall guy for that to happen.
Yeah, pretty much, because it wasn't the first time.
You know that saying, sometimes it got to get worse before it get better.
Yeah,
and I think that was the situation.
I mean, but it happened before. We played at Annandale, and there was a guy that was behind me, was uncle to one of our players, and he was talking stuff, but it was space in between. So I turned around like, yo, come on, man, chill out. And the guy who did what he did to me was going to attack him. And I had to stop him. But he wants to tell, that, I'm the, bad guy. I told the Washington Post this, and y'all may know the guy's name. So I asked the Washington Post guy, what's his name? And he couldn't tell me his name. I said, that's the problem. Because everybody is Daryl Prue this, Daryl Prue that, Daryl Prue this, Daryl Prue that. What about the guy? You know what I mean? Like, okay, right. I went in the stands. If he wouldn't have ran across the thing, it would have been over. It would have been over because the police didn't come over until I was on the ground. Funny thing about the police, when I went to file the charges, the police lady would not let me file a charge. She asked me for his address and his date of birth. I'm like, how in the hell would I know that? You know what I mean? How in the hell would I know that? You know what I mean? So I leave, go to my car. I get a phone call from a detective. And they told me to, go back and, I don't think she understood you. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Like, the fuck. So go back. I gave, I gave him my statement, gave him this and this and that. Then when I went to the press the charges this year, I had a lawyer go with me. And the magistrate, like, how you know who hit you if he hit you from behind? I said, it's video. So he showed the video. He said, okay, I see him. I see his temperament, yada, yada, yada. So he asked the same police officer, the lady, is there a report on this? He said, yeah, Mr. Prue reported. He said, no, is there a police report? She said, no. So you let this dude do that. He goes out, gets a chair, and slams a chair against the goddamn against the wall. I got a video of that one too, from a parent from the other school. And nothing happens to this guy. So they trespass him and the guy who was talking stuff, but then let him back at the end of the year. And told me one time I couldn't come to a game. Oh, they try to use the COVID thing. Since I come to the game, the JV coach asked me to come to the game. I come to the game. It was only the freshmen and the JV playing that day. I see the coach. I see the AD. I go speak to them. I didn't even stay long. I stayed like 2 quarters. I leave. Don't say nothing to me. I get home. I get a damn email about, well, you gotta get your name on a list and all this stuff before you come to a game. I'm like, well, am I banned? You know what I mean? Wow. You can't come to next year. They try to use the COVID thing. I'm like, you know what? You know what I mean? That's like,
that's that politics shit.
Yeah, but like this, and I told them, and everybody knew this was the group that's playing well now. This was the group I was waiting on because I knew they was going to be good.
They got them brothers that's playing. Well, yeah, I can't think of it. What's their last name? Mills.
Cullen.
Yeah, one is a junior, one's a senior.
Kai and I think it's Cullen.
Yeah. Y'all heard what I said about the one who was complaining about being an 8th grader, not making the freshman.
Yes.
Yeah, and the brother was a ninth grader. Didn't get that much time.
Wow.
Man.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's goddamn. Wow.
It's crazy.
So, Prue, like I said, we about to wrap up shortly and stuff like that, man. We appreciate you guys in terms of the audience vibing with us tonight. So, what's the plan now, man? What's the plan for you now? Are you going back to coaching?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to. I don't know. I don't know if I want to. I mean, like, it's like not at the high school level. I mean, like, I miss coaching and stuff like that, but like, I don't know. I mean, like, okay. This put a sour taste in my mouth.
Let me ask you this: where do we get to the point? And Mills, maybe you can enlighten us as well. Where did we get to the point where? Because I remember when I was playing, like I said, my coach called me every goddamn name on. I mean, but the child of damn God, and I actually played better that way. I don't know. We're in a world right now where you got to watch what you say to kids. You know what I'm saying? From a coaching standpoint, how the hell did we get here? And parents not liking what the coach saying to their child and stuff like that, and you can't curse at the kids. How do we get to this point? I don't understand. Can somebody explain that?
I'll be real quick. I don't subscribe to the cursing out, the belittling type thing. I do, growing up in sports and knowing and being around coaches, that sometimes it's your style and sometimes a player wakes up to that. Like, that's what they need to motivate them. But as a female, if I had children who, and not to be like coddling, because I think that's what happens a lot now. But I don't like it. I don't like to hear it because it stings. But again,
no, go ahead.
That's where I'm at with it.
I agree with her. I don't like that. Like, you got these coaches like, get a rebound, do this, do that, do that, do this. I mean, that's not coaching. You know what I mean? I coach, I teach. You know what I mean? I'm a teacher when it comes to this game. And, some people can't handle it. Like, I'm intense about my teaching, but I don't have to belittle you to teach what I got to do. And I don't have to. I don't believe in tearing people down or building them back up. I think that's a lot of that shit is I will test you. You know what I mean? I might challenge you in practice. If you make a mistake, I might make you run, or I'll call you out, and to see how you respond. Because if you can't take what I say, how can you take when 3,000 people yelling at you? And I need you to do something.
I like that. I mean? I like that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But I'll challenge you. But like, the me getting in somebody's face and cussing and stuff like that, no. You ain't gonna find none of them guys to say I did that. You know what I mean? Right. I said some stuff, I cuss, they laugh, they be funny sometimes. But then, like, my AAU teams to laugh at me all the time. They figured it out. I used to get the F out the gym. All y'all leave. It was only 15 minutes left. So they knew, they you know what I mean? After a while, they figured it out. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get to my practice. Then I'm gonna think you mad at me. So when you come back to practice next time, you're gonna be focused. Because that's the game I play with them.
And I think it matters what type of relationship you have with your players. Same as with my students. Now again, saying get the F out my gym to me sounds really harsh, okay? And I'm not saying because I'm female things sound hard. Kobe, be quiet. I'm not saying that because I'm female that may rub me a wrong way. But I do understand that if you have built that relationship with your players, with my students, it's okay. Like, they understand that you're saying, I'll say it myself. I was like, I'm fussing at you, but I'm fussing in love, but I'm still coming for you because you can be better. So I think there's a way to do it. And I think that's what you're saying to us.
No, I am, but like, they cuss way more than we do.
Oh, and that's facts. That's facts. And they're way more disrespectful than
right.
When we grew up.
They didn't disrespect, but like, at the end of the day, if I'm just like, so when I say get the F out of the gym, that's when they're walking around. So get out, because I want to go home. And like I told, like a lot of it too, the first year was worse. And them guys loved me more than ever. It was worse because I didn't have that much time with them. Right. You know what I mean? Like, so we had the COVID year. and I was trying to keep them guys together. You had Mike Till, right?
Yeah, I remember Mike Till, number 22. That was one of my favorite young players too.
Who you think got him that position out in California? I worked. He didn't even play that year. Like nobody talks about that stuff. Like
Sean. I know Sean was coaching him in JV.
Yeah, so he didn't get a chance to play that last year, and I worked, found him a spot. Now he almost got a 3.0. He's like, Coach, he said, I ain't had as good grades when I was in TC Williams. But nobody talks about that stuff.
Yeah, nobody talks about that. Yeah.
Because I told his mother, I said the best thing for him to do is get away. Mm-hmm. She didn't want to let him go at first, but then she found out one of her ex-classmates lived out there close to him, and I had somebody in California that was close too. So, but it ended up working out for him. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, he like as you get older, you know what I mean. Like it's not the volume, it's the message, and people wants to hear the volume, but they don't listen to the message, and that's what these kids do, and their parents fall right along with them because it's not going their way. When it doesn't go their way, they'll do anything they can to discredit the person in front of them, teachers, coaches, whoever, and it's crazy. And the administration gives them that kind of power. They could be dead wrong. They could be dead wrong, and it'd be you the scapegoat. Because why? You're a teacher, they find another coach. I wasn't working at the school. You know what I mean? There was a stipend of $4,900. So I got a thing where you're held accountable more than anybody else for $4,900 a year.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to take that kind of abuse for $4,900 a year?
Yeah. Don Shepard said parents aren't parents no more. Parents are friends with their children, buddy. Hey, Kobe.
They coddle them.
There it is, Kobe.
It's a fine line. You know, like I can't say to a kid and walk up on get the F out of my gym. No, I don't do that.
Okay.
I do.
But then like one kid, one time, my first year, talking about you got me fucking. What do you say? You got me fucking.
You got me fucked up.
Got me fucked up. Yeah.
That part, exactly Mill. That's what they saying.
Yeah, that's what he said to me. I was like, nah, you got me fucked up, and you went out the gym. He left. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? Like you'll have situations like that. Yeah. Them guys, like even when we were losing, you know what I mean? Like I would get on them, but that's like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not Big John. You know what I mean? Lil John wasn't Big John. You know, I saw how he managed the stuff. I worked with Todd Bozeman. Todd Bozeman was like Big John, you know, but it didn't. It worked sometimes and it didn't. You know what I mean? So you had to be the other guy. And, you know, like I had a guy, Julian Vaughn, played at South Lakes. You know, one day we playing Old Dominion up at Georgetown. 17 minutes left in the first half. Comes off the bench. Comes off the floor, comes to the bench. Man, I'm having a bad game. I said, you got 17 minutes left in this half and 20 minutes in the next half. You just had a moment. You know what I mean? To go out there and play. Then one time, you know, he was playing, and one of the assistant coaches yelled at him, "Get a rebound." He said, "I'm fucking trying." So you know, I get to your point. Some people you can't yell at. You know what I mean? Greg Monroe was one you couldn't yell at. He told her, you know, a coach told him one day to box out. You ain't boxing out. So the next play, he boxed the dude out under the basket all the way to half court. You know, you know what I mean? Right. So sir, I said, well, you can't yell at him about what you say. You got to know your people. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have time at first to know them, just like the kids didn't have time at first
to build the relationship.
Yeah. So the second year I took them to West Virginia was the best thing I've done. The Ricardos and all them. So I took them to lunch. Got the Boosters, Cleo, Jeff Harrell, and them. They gave me money every day to buy them lunch, and they paid for dinner. But we sat there as a group. I made them eat together at breakfast. I made them eat together for lunch, and I sat with them. The best thing that happened. You know what I mean? The best thing that happens. The first year, you know, I couldn't do that. You know what I mean? Because I was coming from D.C. Literally price was 68. I was tired. I wanted to go home. You know what I mean? So then, you know, the second year, I spent more time with them. Some of the guys came back. Then the last year, not the last year, but the year before this past, last year, we had COVID. So I was trying to keep them together. I would take them. We went to Richmond. We went to on Sundays playing over the district. So I was trying to keep them together as much as I could, just to keep them a semblance. Then last year, before that stuff happened, we're 2-0 with no kids that play varsity basketball. None of them play varsity. They were all freshmen and JV kids. That was their first time playing varsity, and we was doing all right. You know what I mean? It was 2-0. Then we lost that game. So, it's just, that was my group, because that was the younger group that would laugh at me when I do stuff, because they saw it when they was on the freshman team, me going so, they were used to it. You know what I mean? I'm being hard. I'm being, cantankerous, whatever it had to be to get them to play. You know what I mean? I had to play mind games. And, that's coaching. I can't sit there. Okay, Johnny, you didn't do that right. Let's try it again. Okay, we still didn't do it right. Let's try it again. I said do this, but you're still not doing it. We can't do that with basketball and football. Football coach way more than me. You know what I mean? Some of that stuff they do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, whoa. I said, I've been in the office if all this cussing happened. I was doing all this. You know what I mean? So, it's like, that's what, you know what I mean? Like, kids don't want parents don't want their kids being talked to a certain way, but they allow their kids to talk to other people a certain way. And that's a big problem now with the society right now.
But what I noticed, Prue, like this era or this new generation of kid is very sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like back in the day, you could yell at us as much as you want, and we could take it, and we can go on about our business. But now these kids just shut down completely.
I didn't like yelling either, so I didn't do anything wrong for somebody to yell at me. If I made a mistake, I fixed it. That's what they're not doing. It's like, it's a saying that, we have a bunch of knowledge with no, what's the other word? No, we have a bunch of knowledge because of all the stuff we have, but no, we're not smart enough to figure it out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy because we just literally got off a conference call earlier today. The problem with this generation, because we have a problem recruiting, is they don't, because of the lack of human interaction. One of the doctors was telling us they have a trouble with coping skills. So you get coping skills through human interaction.
Also, you like with basketball, it's 1,000 trainers per kid.
Mm-hmm.
There's no figuring out skills.
Yeah.
There's no coping skills, no figuring out skills. I had to figure a lot of things out when I came up. I took pieces, like I told you, I took pieces from here and here. I watched. So nobody watches no more because everybody wants to play. So they jump from AAU team to AAU team to AAU team. If I'm not playing, I go here. We just like you named 2 names. One of those kids played at 4 different schools in the last 4 years. They jumping from school to school. So, you know what I mean? Like, is it all the other schools? Or is it, you know what I mean? Like, what is it? What are you getting out of that? That's the AAU mentality. So when I told them when I first got there, I wanted a program, not a team.
Right.
I wanted a program. So when the program was coming with this group. It was coming with this group. Then this happens. I thought I had everything out of the way, but I didn't. So like the math is a program. Gonzaga's a program. Guy over Hayfield got a program there. Oh, guy over Wakefield got a program. That's what I wanted. But this AAU mentality, you know what I mean? Like this team, it's not conducive for these kids. You can't keep running from everything. Sometimes you got to make a change and move on, boom, boom, boom. But for some of the reasons these people are moving around, it's not cool. I had the kid. I told you the 8th grader. I thought he was very good. I told him if he got to a point where he's so good, I told the father, I said, I would tell you to go to a private school because you're not getting enough here. If I don't have enough players here and we're not doing this and not doing that, meeting the expectations, it'd be time for you to go. I don't have no problem with that. I have no problem nobody leaving because I don't want nobody who don't want to be there. We had guys my first couple of years who didn't really want to be there, and it showed. If you're not committed to it, it would show. Because I'm a basketball guy. I'm all basketball. I know when people, one of my things when I was younger as a basketball player, I could smell out if a dude was soft. I could smell a dude who don't really want to play. I could smell out a dude who was not that guy. You know what I mean? So as a coach, I could do the same thing. If you're not into it, like I want you to be into it, you know, you won't ride the bus with me because you'll end up leaving. The guys who are gonna ride the bus are the guys who are gonna believe or want to be there.
Facts.
If you don't want to be there, you know, it will show. It will show.
Facts.
That's why when I got coaching the AAU, I don't tell kids where to go because if they go somewhere they don't want to go, guess what happens? They're gonna leave. They're gonna leave.
Yeah.
They don't want to be there 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, like we said earlier, it's all preparation for the next level. If the kid's fortunate enough to go and play college basketball, some of those college coaches are gonna call you everything except a child of God. And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing the parents can do about it.
Nothing.
Like you got to be able to absorb all of that language and be able to mentally get yourself back into the game, back into a practice, and do your thing and focus on what you need to do to be successful. But, you know, those coaches not going to care about what parents think or anybody else think because they paying you a lot of money to be at their college and to do what you need to do in order for that program to be successful. And guess what? If you're not successful, if you can't handle it, guess what? You're gone. We'll pull your scholarship, or if you want to transfer, go in the portal, leave.
Yeah,
You know what I
just
mean?
like, but it's like, the cussing sometimes is if it's not related to what you're trying to, the message you're trying to get across, then you're wasting the curse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like I told you to do this, boom, boom, boom. And like, I think a lot of misconceptions is when I'm yelling instructions in the game and I'm very loud. You know what I mean? And because I'm loud, I'm talking to your kid, you think I'm yelling. But no, it's a crowd in here, it's two teams playing, and I need you to hear my voice.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right, Coach. I
You know what
agree.
I mean?
But
need
you know,
to hear my
Prue,
voice.
like Prue, I got a group of kids that I coach. Like sometimes I have to use language like that just for them to hear it because that's the language they speak. So if I speak regular, like, hey, little Johnny, hey, I need you to, this is what I need you to do. I need you to hustle here. I need you to be on the help side of defense. So I need you to do this, do that. Hey, look, you're doing great. You're doing great. They don't listen to that. So I let them go a couple times up and down the court and they're not doing it. And then when I throw a couple F-bombs or whatever the case may be, now all of a sudden I got their attention. Oh, coach not playing. All right, let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. So sometimes you got to speak their language.
Yeah, John Thompson III, he's not a cusser. So I forgot who we were playing. So he's like, what's going on? So everybody, all the coaches telling them their idea. I said, they're not playing hard. I said, you need to cuss them out. So he pulled the bench out. Guys standing behind the bench, he dug into him. You know what I mean? It was funny to hear him curse because he's not really a cursor. But like, it's like, something like you say, you got to snap. Sometimes if you snap and you do that, you'll get the attention. You know what I mean? That's like sometimes in the classroom, they don't listen. They don't listen. You can't curse, but they still don't listen. So in the basketball, you get to a point. Yeah, you get to a point. You like, in the game, like, oh, you know what I mean? In practice, you're not playing hard. Okay, you're not playing hard. So how many times I gotta say you're not playing hard before you play hard?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I put them on the line, make them run and stuff like that. But sometimes you got to snap their attention. You got to yell at them, snap their attention. Because sometimes they don't hear you. Sometimes the coach has to yell at me to snap me, get my attention. That's a part of the game. Because they're going to be a lot of yelling in college. I don't know how much cursing out they're doing anymore because people telling.
And not only that, in life, it just from a life perspective, man, life is not going to be easy. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Man.
So
These parents
sports in general teaches you more about life in general, man. It's not given to you. It's not given to you easily. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to, you're going to have to wiggle your way around in this world. I think we lost Coach Prue.
I'm back.
Is he back?
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, go ahead and get us on out of here, man.
All right, look. So we don't have no hot seat. We ain't got no rapid fire for him.
You want to do it? Is Coach back?
Listen.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, y'all. Listen, this is where I'm gonna duck out because I gotta teach the kids tomorrow.
Got
so,
you.
Nice to meet you, Coach Prue. Thank you for sharing your truth with us, and I'll see you down the line.
There it is. That part right there. All right, Mills. We'll see you week after next, huh?
So
Hold on.
You got some rapid fire
questions? I think I may have a little something. Hold on.
Let's do it before we get out of here.
All right. I think I might have a little something. Okay, Coach, we got a couple of quick rapid fire questions, then we're gonna get you on out of here, brother.
All right.
Okay. Favorite sports movie of all time?
Favorite sports movie. Ooh. Can I come back to that one?
Come back to that one. I thought you were gonna say Remember the Titans, but
Rudy, baby, Rudy.
right, exactly. Biggest fear.
Flying.
Favorite basketball player growing up.
Dr. J.
Most embarrassing song in your playlist.
Oh man, I got a couple, man. Damn. It's a Aerosmith song. I can't remember.
Okay, there it is. All right, okay. All right, cool. Weirdest thing about you that few people know.
Shit. Really, nobody really knows me. So, the weirdest thing.
Right.
Let me come back to that one too.
All right, don't even worry about it. Okay, start, bench, or cut. Larry Bird, Dr. J, Magic Johnson. Who you starting? Who you benching? Who you cutting?
Damn, I gotta cut Dr. J.
Okay, and you got to start who?
Start Magic. Start Magic.
And bench who?
Bird.
Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, I want you to give me one word answer in terms of these names I'm gonna bring up. Anthony Jones, we talked about that.
Great.
JT3.
Love him.
Dunbar.
The best.
Gail Catlett.
The best.
Bootney Green.
Love him.
Sherman Douglas.
Love him.
Dunbar, Baltimore, or Dunbar of DC?
You took
I'm going DC all day.
All right. So here's the last one. We're not even going back to the other question. Here's the last one. So look here, man. You got to pick a squad of 10 or a squad of 9, including yourself, out of the DC metro area, and you're playing against the best throughout the country. And I need you to go ahead and name them right now. They can be position or positionless. Go.
The DC area.
It can be DC area. It can be DMV, bro. Just however you want to do it.
All right. So DC area. Roy Hibbert, my center.
Ooh.
Jeff Green, KD, Sherman Douglas, Moochie Norris. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think about 4.
That's 5. That's 5.
Okay.
Adrian Branch, Adrian Dantley.
Love Adrian.
How many is that? 7.
Yep, 7.
Yep.
Keith Bogans.
Oh.
Bogey. Alexandria Finest.
Yeah. How many is that? 8.
8.
Yep.
I'm missing somebody. I said Anthony Jones, right?
No, you didn't actually.
You didn't actually.
Anthony Jones.
Okay.
That's 9. That's and me. Yeah.
There it is. That part. That part right there, man. Hey, look, Coach. Seriously. One last question from one of our viewers. He said LeBron or Jordan.
Jordan.
LeBron or Michael Jordan.
Jordan.
All right, there it is. You hear that, Kobe?
We said this the No Cap Sports Show. That's Cap. That's all Cap.
I mean, like, I think he's great too. Don't get me wrong. It's just like if you ask me my preference, I'd rather go for the killer.
There it is. That part right there. Hey, Coach, we want to take this opportunity, man, to thank you, man, for taking time out your busy schedule, man, to sit back and vibe with us. And not only that, bro, to get your side of the story, that everything that transpired with TC Williams, man. And hey, now that, you know what I'm saying, we got it. The viewers and listeners got it and stuff like that, man. We appreciate you. And like I said, man, hopefully and prayerfully, man, we can get you back on again, bro.
Yeah, I'd love to come back on, just like, with all that stuff that happened, I mean, if people are going to, say whatever they want to say, like, when you witness stands and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, a man going to be a man. You know what I mean? Like, I talked to the guy. He said he wasn't talking to me. I walked away from him. And then somebody else stepped in. You know what I mean? If I went up there swinging and doing all that other stuff, yeah, I would have regretted all that. But like at the end of the day, nobody else handled it. So,
yeah.
The lawyer said, you have the right as a coach to remove anybody in the gym that you want to get removed. But
administration should have been right there so that situation would have never took place from the start.
Right. Why was he allowed to do that for 15 minutes? You know what I mean? Or
right.
more. You know what I mean? Like, if I was in the stand saying some stuff, I'm sure somebody would have told on me. You know what I mean? Like, so being a big black man, you know, I'm looking angry. You know what I mean? Like the optics and stuff like that. But what if I was a white man and the black guy came and hit me? You know what I mean? Or, you know, this dude was on my staff before that I gave him all my stuff. You know what I mean? It's not like we know each other. You know what I mean? So, you know, that shows you what he is, not me. So people keep on talking about, you know, they don't know that part. This dude was on my staff. You know, there's pictures of me, him when I'm winning the championship, that everything he got on, I gave him my stuff to have on.
That's what's up, man.
This is what you do. You know what I mean? Like, so they keep on saying me, like I got issues and stuff like that. Is it my issue or is it your issue? You know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, you know, so I asked, like, what did I do wrong? You know what I mean? Oh, you went in the stands. Okay. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? I ain't touched nobody. You know, like I said, everybody around here, I didn't raise I wish I would have raised my voice and got a punch in and, you know, cuss somebody off or go through all this shit. You know what I mean? But I didn't. You know what I mean? So, you know,
All right, Kobe, go ahead and get us on out of here, bro.
Hey, look, I salute you, D Pro. Thanks for joining us once again.
Sure.
All of the listeners and viewers, thank you for supporting us. You know, we definitely appreciate you. Look, go subscribe to the No Cap Sports Show podcast. Hit that like button so you can get the notifications. Hey, look, you can either get down or lay down. Hey, look. Hey, we love y'all, and we see you we see you in 2 weeks. We won't be here next week. We see you in 2 weeks.
There it is.
Y'all got a winter break too, huh?
Good
night, everybody.
There are 4 fouls on the play.
That's why it took so long.
Running into the kicker, number 34 in the kick receiving team. Holding.
Authentic.
Number 90.